Hello everyone, Leader Dorset Spur back with another video to talk about the frustrating game against Newcastle United. Well, what really is there to say about it overall? You all know that I try to be as positive as possible. I am a very much the glass half full kind of person, and I do get accused of being a happy clapper and all that kind of stuff. Even a Levy lover, I've even had all that kind of malarkey kind of pointed towards me. But listen, I let it go over my head because listen, life's too short. I'm an old guy. I don't really try to take on too much of it. But listen, sat and watched the game yesterday. And if I'm being honest, I wasn't too disappointed with the overall play, right? And I know that sounds mad when you've lost the game, but in terms of how we were playing and what we were doing, I was, you know, okay, we're doing the right things here. We're actually having shots. We're actually teeing people up. We're actually pushing on to try to win the game. And I'm probably, if I'm being honest, I'm probably more disappointed with the first goal than I am with the second goal. Let me explain why that is. So I'm watching the game, and I felt that we were all over them. We were full on attack. We've got all of the possession of the ball, which I know doesn't win you the game. I get it, right? But we were in the ascendancy. It was going our way. And then out of against the run of play, they score a goal. Now, the disappointing bit for me was that was so avoidable because it all comes from Destiny Udogie pushing the Newcastle player over. And I know it didn't directly come from that. Excuse me. I know it didn't directly come from that, but had he not pushed him over, we wouldn't have had the ball in. We wouldn't have had it kind of played out and all the rest of it, kind of shuffling around the back and all that sort of stuff. But for me, Romero comes, flying out to press, which great, that's really cool, right? But if you're gonna come that far out, someone's got to drop in for you, and then if you don't win that ball, you've got to bust a gut to get back to that. And as I'm watching it, and I'm watching it on the replays and stuff, he comes bursting out to try to get to the ball. He gets to the ball, doesn't win it. The pass then goes forward, and in my view, he's trotting back. He's kind of tracking back. You don't need to be tracking back. You're our best defender, or one of our best defenders. You shouldn't be tracking back. You should be back. You should be absolutely tearing it up to get there, because this is your error, right? And of course, because he's right out there, the rest of the defence is ball watching, hands behind their back yet again, and the ball comes out, and Harvey Barnes takes a great goal, and there you have it. And of course, you're in an uphill battle. Then you're always chasing the game. So I was more disappointed with that than I was the winner from Newcastle, because when you're pushing that deep to try to win the game, because at this point we're kind of all over them and looking like we're more likely to score. And you only got to get that pass right once. And if you haven't got the speed of Van der Ven, that's gonna be difficult to get back and mark both of those players. So you need both of your defenders then that are running back to be really quicker than Isaac and the other guy whose name escapes me. So you've got to be at least as quick as that. And clearly you wasn't. So for me, that is one of those. You're taking your chances there. And this is the thing, I guess, that I'm seeing called out an awful lot is when you're using inverted fullbacks, or when you're pressing so high, you've got to have that speed at the back to be able to defend it, to get back and take it. That's why Van der Ven is so important. And I don't know where you get another Van der Ven, because there's overall I didn't think Radu had that bad a game. I thought he played fairly well. He did some good tackles. He did some hard work when we were under pressure, which wasn't very often. But in that situation, you're desperately in need of pace, and we just, they're not there. And so defensively, I get it. You want Romero and that to be more attacking and build from the back and push on and so on. Bearing in mind, like I've said previously, that Romero was the top scoring defender last season, which is great. But you've got to get those basics right. You've got to be defending as the priority when you're a defender. That is your job. You've got to get yourself in the right positions for those kind of things. If you're going to be that high, you need to be closer to those players to cut off that option. And so you just, you only need a really good ball over the top box, between the lines, and that's it. You are really, really struggling. So really, really disappointing. Really, really disappointing. Really, really frustrating. Frustrating game. The worst thing about it is, and I know people will go, it was only Everton last week, and I get that. But last week, Kulu played an absolute blinder in that position. It's a kind of, I know he was kind of slightly different. He was a bit more like midfield rather than right up there, kind of working as the striking option. But I personally didn't think that he was as good this week as he was last week. Now, whether that's because the opposition is better or not, you can argue that. But in my view, if he's a good enough player, he should be good enough to be able to sort that out. And so when we then brought Johnson on, who's obviously been getting so much hate, which I'm really disappointed with. I really don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. I thought he came in and did a really good job and was probably one of our better players in the end. Created more chances than anybody else. Was putting the ball in, which is his job, right? I've seen something why is he not looking up and where he's got to play that? He's playing it into the right kind of areas. You need your strikers or your striking option to be, again, busting the gut to get there. And when you've not got an instinctive striker in your starting lineup, then you've literally not got that. If you've literally relying on, someone doing something that isn't natural to them, and so you leave there really, really frustrated. And I've seen. I try to stay away as much as I can from social media, but I really do feel like there is a big split coming in the fan base of the Ange out, Ange under pressure, and so on and so forth. And he's got a tough run of games coming up, with Arsenal to come, with Brentford to come, Man United to come, and these games are coming thick and fast. You've got Europe, you've got the cup games. Really needs to start picking up results rather than performances. We're 3 games in, we've got a win, a loss, and a draw. So we're sitting on 4 points, which isn't a disaster at the start of the season, right? But it does feel that way because the expectation is so high. Should it be? I mean, should our expectation be so high? And I get we're a top 6 club, we've got all this money, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. But listen, I've been supporting since 1978. I've been going since I was a kid. And up until the 80s, we were fairly decent. We weren't great in the 70s, really. In the 80s, we were good. Since the 80s, we've been woeful. This isn't just an issue with ENIC, and that's not me defending ENIC. This isn't just an issue with ENIC. This has been an issue for this club since the 80s, 40 years. We've kind of really just kind of bumbled along, and to a certain extent, we're probably better now than we were all through that period. How quickly we do forget. I literally stopped going to the games under Conte and Mourinho because it got that bad, that the football was that bad. I wasn't entertained, and we wasn't winning games and all the rest of it. And so I kind of switched off from it. And I was hoping that this was kind of going to bring back some joy. And it has to a certain extent. I'm enjoying some of the football. It's exciting, it's edge of the seat, and so on. But that's got to come with results. And Ange has got a big job on his hands to try to get this last bit over the line. Because if he doesn't, he's going to find himself on the way out exactly the same as all the other previous managers. And then we'll be back to square one with yet another start, another idea about how football should be played and all the rest of it. You've got to, at this point, in my view, you've got to stick with what you're trying to do. If the plan is to reduce the age of the players, get in younger players, get in young talent that's developing for a longer term success and so on and so forth, which is what they keep talking about. So they keep talking about long-term success, not just one win of one dodgy cup here and there. It's long-term success. You've got to build for that, and it is going to take time. Will fans give it time? That's the issue. Most fans have had enough. Well, not most fans. A lot of fans have had enough already. Is that right? Or is that a lot of clickbaiting, trying to get people to like their videos, like their tweets, like their Facebook pages, getting their groups, all the rest? I don't know. I've been around for so long, watching football for so long, and maybe I'm just brainwashed to it that it is what it is. And I've said it numerous times. It's not just about the 90 minutes. Generally speaking, for a lot of fans, it's about meeting up with family and friends, and having a pint and something to eat and a sing song and all that kind of stuff as well. So it's a real difficult one. A real difficult one. I see both sides of it, and I get the comments in the comment section on these videos of people how frustrated they are, and I understand it. I really do understand it. I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed. I'm fed up, but I can't see what else we're ever gonna do. What else can we do? Daniel Levy is not going to sell. This is a cash cow. It's creating so much money. We are addicts. We are going to every game. And unless you get to a point where the fans are just had enough and they walk and are not replaced by other fans, then I don't know. I can't see how that changes. Unless the bubble bursts in football altogether. I mean, all these other clubs, you've got your Chelseas and your Newcastles, your Liverpools and all the rest of it that have spent significant money over the course of time and got to a point now where they're tweaking. They buy one player here or one player there. They don't need this mass rebuild that we're doing. When they know they need a player like Liverpool, they knew they needed a goalkeeper. They went out, they spent big on that goalkeeper because that's the missing bit. Then they went and get Van Dijk because that's the missing bit, and so on. And Man City do the same. They didn't have a striker, so they went, they got Haaland because that's the missing bit that they needed. Even Arsenal along the road, they know they wanted a number 6, so they went and got the best number 6 that they got. But they've already done that tweaking. They've already done that painful rebuild of trying to get enough players in. Chelsea are kind of going through it now, although they're spending crazy money and signing every man and his dog. That doesn't guarantee them success. It's worked for them in the past, but the last couple of seasons it hasn't. And the constant change of managers drives me insane. I just can't go through even more managers, another one and another one and another one. I just can't. I just don't know I don't know where's better. I don't know what other option is there. What other manager should we be signing? What other manager should we get? What manager should we get rid of? If we get rid of Ange, what manager do you want to come in? Let me know. What style of football do you want? I'm assuming something in between what we've got, all that gung-ho, have a go, and a bit of defence. Because at the moment it feels like let's just outscore them, and we're not doing that because both of our attackers, both of our strikers are not fit. And I understand why he held back on Solanke this week, because you've got the international break now, and then you've got, before he comes back to the big North London derby. So you've got to get your players fit for that. You want your best team available for that really difficult, important game. And there should have been enough in our team to beat Newcastle this time. we were close. We could have got a draw out of it. We've been battered up there for the last couple of seasons. So, you know, and we've been, you know, really kind of off it. I felt this game, we were far better. We worked harder, but we just are wasteful in front of goal. We didn't take our chances. And when you don't take your chances and you've only got one goal, you've always run the risk of getting caught out on that mad break at the end, especially when you're playing that high. Ange needs to think about it. He needs to get his head into, okay, when you're in that position, you know, okay, you want the win. Of course you want the win, but you don't want to lose. You need to have that thought about what if they break? Have we got enough to do it? Maybe we just needed to, you know, one of those defenders to step back slightly, you know, or maybe we should have stepped up further and played them offside. It's fine lines. It's fine lines. So listen, let me know what you think. I'm sure you will, and I'm sure I should get pelters for some of my views, and that's fine. That's fine. I got no problem. I'll take it on the chin, right? But listen, thanks for watching. I'll be back on Wednesday with our episode of Shooting the Shit, where I'll have my colleagues come and we can talk about it, dissect it, have a bit more of a therapy session than we're currently having today, because I'm just fed up and frustrated, disappointed at the result rather than the performance. I felt the performance was improved, but there's just a massive amount of naivety in this game, and the players really have to think about, you know, how they can play. And Ange really needs to think about what's he going to do to turn this around, because pressure's mounting. Make no mistake. The amount of stuff I've seen on social media and on YouTube, I've literally seen people calling out that Ange needs to go, and the honeymoon period is well and truly over. Obviously, not for me. I still think we need him to stay. I still think we need him to build. We still need to invest and still need to keep going. 2 windows is not enough to fix this. The club has been, you know, in a bad place for a long time, and I think major surgery is needed. And I don't see these owners leaving anytime soon. Don't matter how much you boo them or moan about them. There's too much money involved. But listen, keep the faith. Love your team. You're an addict. Up the Spurs. Come on.